welcome to the Get At Gaming Plus podcast, your podcast for all cool things that we like to talk about, whether that is nerdy, whether that is video games. I guess that's the same thing as nerdy. We just talk about a bunch of cool things that we like to talk about and pop culture things. And I am Alex.
I'm Ben.
And yeah, greetings. Hello. Welcome to the Get At Gaming Plus podcast. If you are new here, depending on where you're watching it, you can find us on youtube.com/GetAtItGaming, where you can find all the video versions of this podcast. If you want to see our faces, if you want to see my horrible green screen right now, just like disintegrating in the corner because of the shadows. So just like, I don't know, it looks really bad. If you want to see that, be sure to go to the video version. If video is not your thing, if you're more like a person who likes actual like audio podcasts and goes places for work or whatever, traverse all that kind of stuff, commuting, that's the word, commuting, you can go to anywhere where you get your podcast. We are on Apple, we are on Spotify, we are on Amazon, we are on iHeartRadio. Maybe someday we'll be on Pandora. Maybe someday. We're trying.
We're working on it.
But we are pretty much everywhere. And if we're not there and you want us to be at your one very eclectic place for a podcast, tell them that you want us, and we'll try to get there. Because honestly, there are a lot of big podcast places, and I'm shocked that I think we provide a good show and a good service and everything, but we're relatively small compared to other places. So it's really cool that we are on Amazon compared to other people, that we were able to get onto iHeartRadio, home of the cool places like Fake Doctors, Real Friends, or like the Boy Meets World podcast. So like, it's awesome to just be in the same place as those kind of podcasts. But this is Get At Gaming Plus podcast, where we talk about all cool things that we like. This week is a pretty big one. We're talking about the Nintendo Direct that just happened today. They were recording. PlayStation State of Play also happened, and honestly, that's about it, since these things are pretty hefty, pretty long. But before all of that, normally we like to talk about what we've been playing, or talk about our hidden trophies, just like things that we found throughout the week. We're not doing that this week because the show is a lot bigger, but we'd also like to talk to you about something that we have discussed, and we think it's for the better. Voice your comments and concerns anywhere, whether that's Twitter or Facebook. What's your opinion on this? For us, for the time being, man, it sounds like we're like dying or quitting. We're not. I don't plan on it. We'll see. I can't promise anything, but yeah. So we are planning on being, instead of a weekly podcast, at least until the end of our normal recording, we plan on being a bi-weekly podcast. So that means every other week you'll be getting a podcast. And so what's that mean for you, the consumer, the viewer, the user, the customer? Well, what that means for you is that you are getting a better packed show, instead of us just BSing for half of the show like most other podcasts do. I mean, you come to a podcast for probably news first, personality second, initially, and then it kind of flips. And regardless of how you feel about us, we personally feel that there just isn't enough news to go around, and for just two people, and we've gone over a year without missing an episode. I think that's awesome. That is a very huge feat, and I'm very grateful and happy for that. But we just think that we could provide you a better product if we went bi-weekly. So That means the shows should hopefully be more tight. There should be more things to talk about. Maybe the shows might be a little bit longer because we'll have stuff. So maybe you'll get something like that's a little more meatier. Um, but also, we plan on focusing more on our other avenues. So again, beginning I talked about we have YouTube, we have our normal podcast stuff. This gives us an opportunity because we're not full time on this. We have other jobs, so it's hard to schedule certain times when we are free and available to do things. Our recording nights are days that we are just have sanctioned for we can do whatever during those days. So on those days, on the off weeks, we will either be um, recording stuff, doing stuff with guests potentially. Don't want to promise anything, but like we have some stuff that's potentially in the works here with guests. We will try to do maybe some streaming, some let's plays, some stuff for YouTube, some other algorithmic content to help ourselves grow because it's hard. We've kind of hit a wall. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be frank with all of you. It's just that initially, when you start a podcast, I feel like the algorithm is very friendly because like, oh, new podcast, we gotta get this everywhere. And then after a while, once you become stagnant and just like become a weekly podcast, it doesn't really promote you anymore. And we have to start doing that ourselves more. And so this allows us to make more content other places. If you've seen our review of Anno Mutationum, we did like our first look at that. I like to do more of those types of series on our YouTube, youtube.com/, GetAtGaming. Yeah, so like there are a bunch of things that we would like to do, and we hope that you understand.
And this is not, this isn't a bad thing. It's just like Alex said, we 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 record every week. It has been a struggle to get like a full show. And as many of you know, there's just not been a lot of news in the entertainment world, whether it be anime, video games, movies, TV. It's like very selective of what has been coming out. I think we're still kind of getting a little bit of the from the pandemic, but this will give us an opportunity. Alex and I have talked about new segments we would like to try and do. And when we do a show, it will be a fuller show, like he said. And it's not saying that we won't do a surprise episode or hey, we got a special guest this week, but it definitely will give us an opportunity to focus more on doing like that full show. So
yes, and I did want to stress again because I kind of mentioned it earlier. So you'll all probably notice it when we say so, but normally we try to take a break at a certain point. And so Thanksgiving is our first pre-recorded. During the weeks from Thanksgiving through I don't know, through like the first or second week of January, you'll be getting more podcasts because we're already have these scheduled. So you're gonna get weekly podcasts during that time. But
there's some good ones too.
yeah, there's some pretty cool ones coming up here, and I'm excited to record one of these here soon because oh boy, Netflix, you treating me right with certain shows. But
Which
yeah,
on a second little tangent, did you hear that they want to do a weekly for these new shows for any of these shows?
yes,
So,
I did.
like,
I complained with someone about it.
well, because my wife's like, why are they doing that?
I love
I
it.
said, well, because then people can't like buy Netflix for the month, watch a whole season, and then get rid of it.
It's the Disney mentality. It's working for Disney, so they can do it.
Yeah. Which I think is just going to hurt their numbers because they don't have as many things as Disney.
Yeah.
But that's a side note. I will tell you that the holiday ones, I don't want to tell anybody what they are because we want you to be surprised. Obviously, we're going to do a game of the year. And we're going to do next year's predictions. 'Cause I think the projections for this year, when we go over them, I don't think we got very many of it right.
Yeah.
But those are gimmies, but the rest of the episodes are ones that you guys will really, really enjoy. Um,
Yes. I will give you a hint for one of them. Who in here know Ricky Tan? Ricky Tan. That's your quote. That's your hint. I could do the voice, but I don't want to do that voice because then you're getting more of a hint there. But anyway, yes, thank you so much for your time. This has been our TED Talk
yeah,
about any of this. Now back to the show, and then opening plays again. I'm gonna do that in post. The opening's playing right now. But now we are gonna talk about the Nintendo Direct, if I can speak. So I clicked on the wrong thing. Nintendo Direct. There we go. And advertisements. Ahoy. Ahoy hoy. Again, we are using IGN because IGN is the easiest thing to do this. These are not in order because IGN likes to put clickbait in here. So, we're just gonna go over a bunch of things because it's pretty long. So these first two things are things that happened at the end, and Breath of the Wild sequel has officially been called Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, and it's been scheduled to come out May 12th, 2023. Um, now, um, I guess I should also say that we didn't mention this earlier, but this is going to come up anyway. Due to the passing of the Queen, um, so that the Nintendo Direct actually got delayed over there in England, so they won't see it. I forget how long. I think maybe like I don't think it was being streamed. I think it was like coming up later, like just as a
yeah.
VOD. And everyone's thought that was really weird how they're just like in respect to the Queen, in respect to the all that that this is happening. And now there's more speculation. It's like maybe they didn't want to stream it because the name of the game is called Tears of the Kingdom. That's cutting a little close to home, honestly. So that could be a reason. But anyway, this game, from what little we've seen, I think it looks cool. We haven't really seen much, but we did see the new stasis power that's talking about here, where like it's like reversing time. We saw Link jump onto like a stone, I don't know, like some sort of bird mechanism and
Yeah.
just like glide on it. Um, we saw Link just like fall down into the sky, similar to how he did it in Skyward Sword, like how like it would load and then he would fall down and maybe like fall on the Loftling or something. What do you think about this trailer?
It was very short,
Yeah.
which I wasn't expecting a huge, but it wasn't just CG. There was actual gameplay,
Yep.
which I think is important. Um, I think that's a pretty reasonable date to wait on.
Yeah.
I know people are like, "Oh, it's so far away." It's not that far away, and I've always said it. If like any game that has a release date that switches, that's what you want because when it comes out, it's gonna be more complete. I will tell you this with all the rumors going around, this is not the Zelda we were gonna see that I thought. I thought this, but I will take it. Um,
Yeah.
my game list for the year, I am planning to play Breath of the Wild. I've
Okay.
played nothing of it. At the time that we got it, we only had one Switch. So now that we have got three Switches,
Mm-hmm.
it's definitely doable. So I will probably play it. I do like Zelda. Zelda, it's a staple for Nintendo. So when I saw this, I was not. I was kind of surprised, but then I was like, Am I really surprised that they showed it? No.
Yeah, I will say that just FYI for your enjoyment of Zelda, Breath of the Wild isn't really a Zelda game, so just kind of go into that mindset there that it's just an open world sandbox with items that break very easily. But it still is like it's interesting, it's fun. You'll get lost in there for hours just doing puzzles here or there. But if you're expecting like a Link to the Past or Ocarina of Time, you're not gonna get that here.
No.
This is yeah, it's something completely different.
I think,
Which is interesting because like this game looks more structured from these trailers compared to Breath of the Wild.
yeah, and I really do think like as a Zelda person that grew up with Zelda on NES and Super Nintendo and N64, you cannot look at any of the new ones and think I want it to be like those games there. You know, they were unique for what they were.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like this is a step forward with Zelda. You know, it's like Mario. Mario always is involving doing something different.
Yeah.
I think that even though we're waiting until the 12th, yeah. And I also feel that and I heard this when I was listening to a couple podcasts today, we're in the last cycle of the Switch. So I feel like this is the last giant game, maybe one or two more that come out, and then that's it.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely possible. Because yeah, we're starting. I mean, we've had Splatoon 2 at the beginning, and we just got Splatoon 3 recently, which is an amazing game. But I don't want to get too much into the detail of that. But yeah, I think you're right. I think those people are right that yeah, we're kind of getting towards the end, whether they like it or not. But yeah, it really just depends on I don't know. What we'll see because I feel like Pikmin 4, or I guess we'll talk about it here in a second. But yeah, other games that were announced here like might be the end of yeah the Switch. But you mentioned it earlier, so I want to go over it here really quick. I was right. Actually, hang on. I want to do where is it? This. I was right and you were all wrong. There was no Ben just laughing. I could see him on the other screen, but they can't see you right now. I was right and you were wrong. There was no Wind Waker HD and there was no Twilight Princess HD because there were baseless, stupid rumors that someone just made up and just posted on Twitter. And so, yeah, it wasn't here. And that was my only hope for this direct is that it wasn't here. So you guys all wouldn't just get your way. Baby doesn't get their bottle today. So, yeah, you all suck. Haha. Anyway, that's my rant.
You know, and that did not, I mean, I was like, man, I think it'd be cool to have those.
I think it would be cool. But all these baseless rumors are just like, it's happening. It's like,
right.
Where'd you hear that from? You're just making all up until it becomes real. It's like Mother 3. Like I say it all the time, but that's more of a joke.
I feel like me wanting Advance Wars 1 and 2 is like you getting Mother 3 at this point.
It really is because I mean I was watching reacts and other stuff as well, and they were like, "There's a lot of war in these other sort of direct games. Why can't they just release Advance Wars at this point?"
I mean, the game's done. It has to be done at this point.
I mean, well, someone accidentally got it that one time. Remember?
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't completely done then, but like, yeah, it should be done by now.
I mean,
yeah.
Not to go on another tangent, but we had that podcast where I was like, when we heard the announcement, I'm like, I am buying it day one, and I'm going to be playing that for the holidays. And here we are, we're going into another set of holidays.
Yep.
And we won't be playing it unless for some reason, like, oh, by the way, it comes out tomorrow.
It's highly possible. Highly possible.
But I want a physical, so
yeah, it's fair. Speaking of things that we never thought would happen, or things that will never happen, but apparently it is. Miyamoto tricked us. He talked about that Pikmin Bloom game for a while. And was just like, hey, we got this smartphone game by Niantic. You guys like Pokemon Go? Well, here's it with Pikmin. and it's all this cool stuff. See ya. Oh, just kidding. We have one more thing, and it was Pikmin 4. So we saw a little bit of Pikmin 4. There's a new character, it looks like, perhaps. It might be the girl from Pikmin 3. I'm not sure. I played that game once, and it was very, very good. But Pikmin's one of those games where it's just like, cool, I beat it. I'm done, for me personally. Um, yeah, I think Pikmin looked cool. This was definitely not on my radar at all. This definitely wasn't. This is a Mother 3 for me, honestly, at this point, where it's just like, or a Mother 3 for me, as in, like, I didn't think it would ever happen because I feel like they think Pikmin's dead. And they treat it's like F-Zero. Like, I don't think we're ever gonna see F-Zero again.
And I know that was another. I never brought it up in the last podcast, but that was another rumor that we were getting a new F-Zero. And in my mind, I'm like, we're not getting one.
Yeah.
You know,
exactly.
We're not. I thought the Zelda ones were a little more thought that we would get before we got another F-Zero. And now that they didn't announce it, you know, and who knows, they may do another one where they're saying, "Hey, this comes out in December,"
or just a random tweet, like how they do with Paper Mario.
Yeah, and they might just do that because I feel like it's not if they redid those and just said, "Hey, we're gonna have them come out," that would be enough to get the sales to be there.
Yeah,
but I think this is pretty cool. The Pikmin, I played one of them, and it's a cute, fun puzzle game. I think it was really cool. And I would probably play this on the Switch.
I played all three of them. Pikmin 2 is probably my favorite. Pikmin 1 has a time limit because you're trying to get everything before a certain time, so you can go and leave and build your spaceship. Pikmin 2 doesn't have a time limit. It's just more of just like, here are levels that you can go to, and you can play as both Olimar and Louis. So I like that. And then Pikmin 3 was kind of both games combined, but with three characters. And you could like split between the three characters and send Pikmin to each of those characters and do a bunch of puzzles where like you leave two people over here and then you would go focus on this other person and then just switch between all of them. But yeah, Pikmin 3 is probably the best one mechanically, I would say. And that was on Wii U. And I have that digitally on Wii U, I believe. Yeah, because they gave it to us for free. I bought it and then they gave it to us digitally for free. So I sold my physical copy for whatever expensive price it was going for and got to keep the digital version. So yeah, I have that. But yeah, Pikmin's cool. I like Pikmin. I think it's cool to see it again. I'm interested to see how this will do because Miyamoto said that it is it feels unique or something. I forget exactly what he said. It's like it feels good on the Switch, like with the Switch's unique design and stuff. That Pikmin feels good on there. So
I will say, as we go through this list, that before Nintendo was talking about that the titles we're going to be talking about in this direct will be for this I don't know the exact wording if they said this year or this winter, but a lot of the games on here are not coming out this year. Like the first two we talked about, they're not coming out this year. The next game we talk about is not coming out this year. So
yeah.
But I remember they said something, whether it was like what they were talking about in the actual direct or whatnot. Yeah, I felt like they did not. They said they're all coming out within a year. You know, maybe they said winter. They left it very open. They left it very open where it was like not just this year, because then that's the way Nintendo is. They're not going to give it to you like and make it seem like they have to come out right now if they're not coming out, but they'll leave themselves a loophole.
Yeah, I agree. Most stuff will probably be this year, but yeah, it's a lot of beginning of next year. I don't think we really saw any 2024 things until we talk about Sony. So the next thing it's talking about, this is the first thing that popped up, and the internet likes to invoke controversy. Fire Emblem Engage is the newest mainline Fire Emblem game, and it features Marth, apparently, according to this. It features other people, but Marth is a big deal. So basically, it is a new Fire Emblem game for Switch. This is a new mainline entry, and it has the gimmick of you're playing Fire Emblem, how you normally do, but you have like these rings that you can have, these emblem rings, which is stupid. They call them. We have these warriors called emblems. It's like, really? Okay, it's the best thing you could do. All right. So yeah, the emblems rings allow you to summon characters from previous Fire Emblem games. So like previous, I don't know, lack of a better term, heroic spirits, I guess, like Fate. You can fuse with them. So like Marth was a big one where like you fuse with Marth to have like his attacks or whatever. And yeah, there's like other people as well. This game is coming out January 20th, 2023. People like to complain about the art style. I've noticed a lot of people are. The big thing is like the main character looks like a VTuber. Yeah. Well, the creator of the characters is Mika Picasso. And I guess she has done a bunch of different things and light novels, and supposedly she has designed some VTubers before. So it's just a different art style overall for everything. Everything seems more cell shaded and I don't know, just more pop. I don't know, like more anime compared to like the other game, which was less of that. It seemed to be a little more detailed, but at the same time, the previous game just didn't look good to me. So yeah, it's just interesting to see that they're changing the character art styles and all this for this, and that's the thing that people are complaining about. It reminds me of when we got. I never played on Switch because I just remembered that it was on Switch. But Tokyo Mirage Sessions, Sharp FE, that game that was Shin Megami Tensei, Cross Fire Emblem, where like you summon those people. Like they looked a little bit different in that because it was a Mega 10 game and a Fire Emblem game. That's what this kind of reminds me of, like the art style. It's just like a different thing like that, but it is a mainline game. So that's interesting. I'm curious how many people are gonna play it. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not big into Fire Emblem. I don't know about you. I mean, you haven't really played much of those, but are you big into like tactics games at all, or not really?
Yeah.
Besides, I guess Advance Wars is never showing up.
No. I like certain tactic games.
Okay.
I could really get into them. Like one I played all the time was this old Star Wars one, an RTS where you had to build up your base, you can build troops,
Mm-hmm.
and you get attacked, you can attack other people. Like StarCraft almost. Really got those.
I know what you're talking about. I forget what that's called, but yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. But yeah, I mean, if you like Advanced Wars, you would probably like Fire Emblem for the most part because it's the same type of game as Advance Wars, or Famicom Wars, or whatever you want to call it. But the difference is that like one's a little more cheesy. Like I don't know, Advance Wars is a little more tongue in cheek and comedy. I feel compared to Fire Emblem, which is trying to take itself way too seriously.
Once if a character dies on Fire Emblem, that character's dead.
Yes, until recent games. Recent games you can I think it's default where you can keep your characters alive after a fight.
Gotcha.
But you can still play it the hard mode as it used to be. Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe. Kirby's 30th anniversary, because Kirby shares a birthday year with me. It's the 30th anniversary of that, so they are bringing Return to Dreamland, which is 20th anniversary game. Maybe wait, No. Yeah, that sounds right. I think it was the 20th anniversary game. Um, for Wii. Um, so yeah, the difference is that they've upgraded it. There's new power ups. The characters look different. DD looks completely different now, and I hate his new design a lot. Um, he just looks like a ball with like no neck and just like a little face popping out. Because there's a comparison shot, and it's just like, oh yeah, here's DDD I recognize, and then here is this ball penguin. They don't look the same to me. But yeah, Kirby's Return to Dreamland. It's one of those games. It's a Kirby game, but it was the first one to be 4-player co-op. Um, but it's a very very good game. I play that game co-op with a friend, and we enjoyed it a lot. There is no online announced for this yet. I don't know if there will be. But Kirby's
You would
always a good
almost
fun time.
you would almost think they would have to, because being a 4-player. Um, the trailer to me, I remember seeing this because this was a Wii game, correct?
Yeah,
I remember seeing it, but this is really cool. Um, I don't mind like these remastered ones brought back.
yeah,
You know, I think it's a fun side scroller with some really cool weapons, and it's like old school Kirby.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I
for
don't know.
sure. I like I also like for I mean it's probably easier for them, but for these older games, they just like have a heavier outline on the characters. I always like that when they try to like make them pop more like that. Um, but yeah, Kirby's cool. Next one didn't really impress me because I wasn't really impressed by the first game. Octopath Traveler 2. Um, brand new people, same job classes. So that was the kind of disappointing thing that I noticed where I was like, oh cool, it'll have brand new heroes and stuff that you get to follow. And then you saw here is the dancer, here is the scholar. I was like, we already had these. I don't know. In my opinion, I was thinking maybe we would get new job classes, maybe we get something
Right.
new. But at the same time, like I understand that people do like these games a lot. Um, so yeah,
Well, and I think the big thing for this is not a Switch exclusive.
yeah. Originally, Octopath Traveler was a Switch exclusive for like 2 years, and then it showed up on everything else shortly afterwards.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is gonna be on PS5 and everything else here. But I think it's coming to Switch first. I think that's what they said.
Yeah,
Um,
they did say it was going to come to Switch first.
yeah. So I don't know. Octopath, like if you like old school RPGs, you'll probably like Octopath. I didn't like it because it was really hard to, in my opinion, I felt that leveling up was hard to do. And it really wanted you to use items to fight bosses. And the items like are really overpowered. And so I just didn't feel good using them. But I do like the HD 2D style. Live Alive has this style now. There's a Dragon Quest game getting this style, I believe. So like yeah, it is cool to see that Octopath, the game that started it all for this, is getting a new game. So cool on them. I'm gonna go a little bit fast on this one, I guess. Bayonetta 3. We already know what Bayonetta 3 is. We already know when it's coming out. It's coming out October 28th. We saw another trailer. It's
So
Bayonetta 3.
over, I'm so over like this is like they treat it like a giant cash cow. Now look, I'm not knocking Bayonetta. I've never played them,
Yeah.
but here's my problem with it, and then you can move on. We've been seeing this for years, at
Yep.
least a year and a half of we're gonna do Bayonetta 3. At this point, and I'm gonna say it, no one gives a shit. I mean, I feel like the first time you saw it, it was great. It's like I would compare it to how many times they keep putting Avatar in the movie theater.
Mm-hmm.
Stop. Okay.
Yeah. I liked Bayonetta, the first one, a lot. and I played most of the second one. But yeah, 3. The more I see of this game, it's kind of like a cyberpunk situation for me for this standpoint. But the more I see of this game, the more I don't care about it. So yeah, you're completely right on that. But it's almost out, so that's cool. So we should hopefully stop seeing it soon.
They stop showing it.
Yeah. Next one reminded me that the 3DS is dead, and they know that it's dead. There's not even a picture for this one. Come on, IGN. Final Fantasy Theatrhythm Final Bar Line is coming out early next year. Final Bar Line is the ultimate celebration of the franchise's music of Final Fantasy, because there are 2 versions on 3DS, and this game will include 385 songs, and you can play 2 players locally with up to 4 players online. There's also going to be a season pass that will allow 90 songs, and those songs are from Nier, Octopath Traveler, Live Alive. I've also seen The World Ends With You is getting songs again. So like it's just a bunch of Square properties are getting songs. There is another Theatrhythm that only came out in Japan for Dragon Quest, and we never got that one for some weird reason. But yeah, this is coming out February 16th of next year, 2023, and I am very excited. I love Theatrhythm a lot. That's what kind of the not Final Fantasy, Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory was kind of like a spiritual successor to that, where you're kind of just like attacking enemies on beat while trying to play a song. And so yeah, I'm excited for this. I'll probably buy the super deluxe version that just comes with all the songs. That's digital, just because I just want all of the songs, and it'd probably be the cheapest route to do that. So yeah, I am very excited. You know what else I'm excited for? More Nintendo Switch Online games for N64. So they showed us Pilot Wings, Mario Party, Mario Party 2, Mario Party 3, Pokemon Stadium 2, 1080 snowboarding, Excitebike 64, and they also showed right at the end one more thing, GoldenEye 007, GoldenEye 64. These are all coming to Nintendo Switch Online gradually throughout the upcoming the end of this year to next year. And I will say GoldenEye is coming out for Game Pass and for people who own Rare Replay as well. I guess they're just giving it to people over on Xbox. However, those versions don't seem to have online play. So if you want to play online, Switch Online seems to be the only way to do it. And I think that's why they specifically said with online in this trailer.
I do wonder with this, like, is this going to be enough to get more people to sign up for Switch Online? I don't, because I could tell you, out of all the N64 games that I played or not played, I played that game like religiously.
Yeah.
So, and I would go to a friend's house. We would play it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
We were older. We have a couple beers. But is that enough for them to build that and get that there? Yeah. I think, and I'm not knocking it, but I just don't know if it's like, if they're thinking like, we're going to totally get like a ton of people signing up. I don't know.
So the things that I didn't understand, and again, I'm going to try to go as fast as possible since we are not even halfway through this. The things that I didn't understand was Mario Party was going to be on here. Mario Party shouldn't exist anymore. Because I don't know if you remember the lawsuits and stuff like that for original Mario Party, where there were a lot of games, mini games, where it was like spin the stick as fast as you can. Well, as a kid, you found out the easiest way to spin the stick was actually, hey, hang on. I have it here. All right. Audio listeners, I have an N64 controller actually. The easiest way to spin the stick was to put your palm and do this, and just spin it with your palm. And the problem with that is that that actually cut up a bunch of people's palms. Uh, Actually, this feels a little bit of different plastic, so that might be fine. But yeah, it cut up a bunch of kids' palms since they were doing it too hard or too much, and people sued. And then they had to be like, "Oh, we're sorry. We'll give you, I don't know, I forget, like gloves or something." And they're like giving away gloves for a bit. And then they kind of just took Mario Party off of shelves. And then Mario Party 2 came out. There were no more spinning games at all. So I'm shocked that we're getting Mario Party 1 at all, because it's mostly spinning games, if I recall. And then Mario Party 2 perfected the series, and then Mario Party 3 is just something completely different. So I expected Mario Party 2 and 3.
Yeah.
But
Like, again, like I am a standard. I still have my $34 membership.
mhm.
This still to me is not like, oh man, I gotta go pay the rest of the money to get, everything else yet. Now there are some certain Sega Genesis games that if they put them on there, I will probably do it just because of that. But I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I do wonder what their numbers are for the Nintendo Online.
I think they're gonna go up because of Mario Party, because of Pokemon Stadium, more so Pokemon Stadium 2, because that game's way more expensive than the first one. And 10A snowboarding is a big one too, in my opinion. And then GoldenEye is GoldenEye. I feel like people might just upgrade for a bit and then maybe go back down to play GoldenEye. So I wonder how much retention there's going to be there. But I think initially they might get a big pool of numbers. But yeah, I don't know how long they're going to stay, unless they're just going to forget about it.
Yeah.
But who knows? But yeah, again, GoldenEye is coming out for other things as well, so keep your eye out for that. They talk about Final Fantasy. Next, they're talking about Crisis Core, Final Fantasy VII Reunion. This is coming out December 13th on all platforms, including Switch.
Yeah.
On Switch, it didn't look like it was running that great. I'm going to say that. But it is a remaster of a PSP classic. So I am probably going to get it for PlayStation now that I saw this trailer.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I kind of did want to get on Switch because it is a PSP game. So I was like, oh, I should play this portably since this is how it was. But no, I guess not. We're just going to play it. I'm going to play on PS5 and we're going to like it. Wave 3 of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe's booster courses will be available here soon. And they showed off 2 tracks for now. And that's it. They showed off Peach Gardens from DS and then Merry Mountain from Mario Kart Tour. We talked about this earlier. Actually, we might talk about this on the show. I always forget. But Nintendo Switch Sports, the golf mode got delayed. And now it's coming out this holiday. And it's going to be free. And 21 holes to from the Wii Sports Series. And it'll let you play locally, as well as 8 players online in survival golf.
Yeah, that was really cool. I think that was one of my ones I was like, okay, so that's really cool because that is the one thing that I felt was missing from Switch Sports.
Yeah, I agree.
So I feel like that's going to be really big.
Mario Strikers Battle League gets the second free update. So you're getting Pauline and Diddy Kong, as well as new gear, new stadiums, rankings, and more customization options. No one plays this game, so no one cares. I'm gonna be honest. Like, no one's playing this game because the online was trash for it, so no one touched it because you couldn't play how you expected to play online. You couldn't just have a team and go. Like, I don't know. It was some weird online BS. Xenoblade Chronicles 3, just talking about its Wave 2 DLC. There is a new character called Ino. And she's all mechanical. She's a mechanical hero. How many times did he say mechanical hero?
Oh my god, it was like over and over again.
Too many
We get
times.
it.
But DLC is coming out October 13th. Splatoon 3's first Splatfest. Um, those are the things where they're very big events, and they're normally take place like on a weekend. So like, yeah, this says say September 23rd through the 25th. So yeah, that's next Friday. So not this upcoming, but like Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of next week. And so yeah, you have a weekend to play online, and you choose the answer to a question. And so you decide this week or this time is what would you bring? What's the best thing to bring to a deserted island? And it's either bring gear, bring grub, or fun. And so you have to choose which one. And depending on which one, you have a different color for your ink or for your inkling, or octoling, depending on how you, who you are, who you play as. And so then you play in these like big arenas where it's three teams, like a battle royale of three teams fighting all each other. And yeah, so that's gonna be interesting to see. I'm excited. The Splatfests were always the coolest things, in my opinion, of Splatoon. I really like the main game of Splatoon, where you just play quick matches here and there. But Splatfests is what that makes the game interesting, since they're bigger arenas and they're different. It's harder because there's more people. Um, Resident Evil Village. We're getting cloud versions of that. We're also getting cloud versions of 7, Resident Evil 2, and Resident Evil 3. Hooray, I guess.
I mean, I think I said this. I'll say it real quick. I would be interested to see what Resident Evil Village looks like on a Switch running cloud.
I'm sure it'll look fine. It's just how fast is it?
And you
Like,
have to be. You have to. You're from what I played. Your reactions need to be very quick. So
yeah,
uh, we'll wait and see on that. I'm not a big of the cloud thing that Nintendo does. They're like really proud of it. I'm not. Yeah. So
yeah. Harvest Moon remake of the GameCube game. There you have to look it up, honestly. But basically, Harvest Moon isn't called Harvest Moon anymore. It's called Story of Seasons because of some copyright. Now they're all called Story of Seasons. So Harvest Moon: A Wonderful Life, which was a GameCube game, is now being remade into Story of Seasons: A Wonderful Life. And so yeah, that's coming out next summer. Um, Harvest Moon games are always pretty fun, and this is a fan favorite for a lot of people. So it's cool to see this one getting remade. Um, I barely remember. Oh yeah, that's right. There's a bunch of farming games in this direct for some reason.
yeah,
Fae Farm. It's an RPG with farming. So Farm Sim RPG, up to 4 players. Yeah, that's another one. Harvestella is getting a demo today, which is another farming type game by Square Enix. And it comes out. The game comes out November 4th, but the demo is out today. Fatal Frame: Mask of the Lunar Eclipse comes to the West. This was a Japan exclusive for the Nintendo Wii, and we never got it here, and now it's being remade for the Switch, so everyone's getting it. Um, I'm not really a big Fatal Frame person because I don't like scary games, but it's cool to see that Nintendo is still trying to keep Fatal Frame alive somewhat, and we're seeing it more and more. Like this is like the second game on Switch so far because they remade like the Wii U one, I think, a year
yeah.
or so ago. So it's cool to see more of these.
And there's actually quite a bit of horror games on the Switch,
Yeah,
more than I would think. Um,
yeah,
I own Curse Mountain for the Wii, and it's crazy when you play it because I'm like, how did this ever get on a Wii?
Yeah.
It's it jumps and very dark,
Mm-hmm.
so it's crazy. But yeah, I think that's I think that's cool. They're keeping them alive.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Tunic is coming out for Switch later this month, September 27th. Tunic is that game that came out that's basically Zelda, but with like a little fox in a tunic, and it came out on Game Pass earlier a few months ago on PC and Xbox. But yeah, now it's coming to everything else. Takes Two is finally coming to Switch. You can do a local co-op version of it with one system, which is interesting because I don't know if you could do that with the original game. I thought you all had to have friend codes or friend passes, but I'm not sure. Um, but so yeah, there's a local version and then the online version. So if one person owns it, if you get the friend pass, then you can just play it with another person for free, like just straight up. Just one person has to own the game. So I think that's really cool. Um, Sifu is coming to Switch and it looks rough. The frame rate and stuff was awful. Front Mission first and Front Mission 2 are coming out, and then Front Mission 3 is again teased that it's going to exist eventually as a remake. It's really weird though. I'll go into this really quick. Um, like they said, Front Mission first and Front Mission second or Front Mission 2 on the screen, and then the person talking kept saying Front Mission remake, Front Mission 2 remake, and you didn't say Front Mission first. And I was like, do you know what the game's called? Is it not called this anymore?
Yeah,
Do you know something that we don't? So yeah, that's a thing. 8 layer Ryza 3 Alchemist of the End and the Secret Key. Early 2023. More of those games. There are a million of them. They've been coming out for years. Tales of Symphonia is getting a remaster again. So it's coming out on Switch now. It's been on PC for a while. It was on PS3 and stuff for a while. It was originally on the GameCube years ago. Um, yeah, this is supposed to be. I've never really played this one, but this is the one that people love the most. But it's probably their nostalgia talking because it was probably the only one or the first one that they played, which isn't a bad thing. But again, it's kind of like the Final Fantasy debacle. It's like, oh, what's your favorite Final Fantasy game? It has to be the first one that you. It's normally the first one that you've ever played. So,
yeah,
um, we're almost there. We're almost done. Danganronpa creators are getting Master Detective Archives Ring Code. Um, so yeah, this is coming out spring 2023. Looks like Danganronpa has interesting case mini games like Danganronpa. We'll see how it goes. SpongeBob SquarePants 2023. Rune Factory 3 is coming, which was a Nintendo DS game, and now we're getting on Switch. Various Day Life is an RPG that's available right now on Switch, and it seems to be a Octopath Traveler game potentially. Um, let's see, Radiant Silvergun, which is a shmup that's coming out today. Yeah, it's a 1998 classic. Factorio is a survivor game, and it's coming out the 28th of this month, or October 28th of this year. Ib is looks like a RPG Maker game, and it's like a horror game. It looks very much like Undertale or Amori, like those types of games where it's very simple and just very like sprite like, but then it has I don't know, it's a creepy game. Yes, it's a creepy adventure game where it's set in an art gallery. So like you just have to figure out what's going on. Yeah, that was one that stood out to me. I'm interested to see how it is. I don't really play those types of games, but I think it looks interesting.
yeah. It looks very interesting.
Oddballers is coming out 2023. Oh, this one. Fitness
this looks fun.
boxing.
Yeah.
Fists of the North Star. All
Well,
right.
if it's anything like the anime, you will definitely get a workout. Yeah, I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
I might just buy it because it's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen.
I think it's hilarious. I have a Fist of the North Star game for PS4. I downloaded it or I bought it digitally. I haven't played it yet. But it's made by Ryoga Gotoku Studios, and everyone is voiced by people from the Yakuza games. So like the main guy from Fist of the North Star, um, he is voiced by Kiryu's voice actor, and like same thing like that. Like Majima, voice actor from those games, from Yakuza, is like one of the villains, and like it's just really cool. Like it's supposed to play like a Yakuza game, but Fist of the North Star. But yeah, that's the last thing I remember of Fist of the North Star. So getting a random boxing game is just interesting.
That game was ridiculous, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm watching the Japanese trailer for it. Um, and this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. I will buy this just because how ridiculous it is.
Yeah.
You know, what's crazy is like Kenshiro has this thing where he's hitting. It's like all these punches like super fast.
Yeah, this fast punch. Yeah.
Yep. And if you get hit by the Fist of the North Star, your head will explode.
Omae wa mo shinderu. Nani?
I'm not seeing that, but like they're showing like the multiple punches and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's super cool. This was one of those ones where as I was watching, I'm like, oh my gosh, why is this not over yet? And then this came on, and I'm like, okay, this is really cool. Yeah, I think that one's really cool.
Yeah, for sure. Got two more things, I guess. This webpage lied to us. Just Dance 2023. It's coming out in November. And Endless Dungeon is a procedurally generated roguelite set in space. And that's coming out in 2023 as well. So yeah, that's the Nintendo Direct as a whole. And overall, I thought it was pretty good. I thought there was a lot of cool stuff in here. Not necessarily everything was for me, but again, there is a lot of stuff in here, and if you think it was a bad direct, you are crazy. Because there is, I feel, at least one thing for everyone, and that is the most that you could ask for any sort of
What would
event.
you grade it? So, what would you grade it?
I don't know, because the Pikmin Bloom thing lasted a little long, but then we got to see Pikmin 4. That's the only thing where I would be like, I'm gonna knock it down. I'm not sure, honestly. Depends on how we're grading. Like, how do you want to grade this?
Like A, B, C, D, F.
Oh, okay. Probably a B plus to A minus. Like, I don't think, like, I think there was a lot of good stuff in here for everyone. I think the pacing was very good. I don't think they over promised anything. Nothing was over promised. It's just that everyone just over expected a ton of things, and they did deliver. They delivered a lot of different things, regardless if you like it or not. There is here at least one thing here for everyone. And yeah, I think it did a pretty good job. And
yeah, I would give it a B minus, only because like I felt that there should have been more stuff coming out this year, but in the same token, they did show a lot of stuff. So, with that being said, B minus. I don't think anything under that. And I know they were getting a lot of grief online about, oh, it was crap, blah blah blah. Yeah,
it was
and
also longer than we were initially told. They said 40 minutes, and it was like
an hour,
50 minutes or so. Yeah.
And I will say, once we go through the Sony one was super quick. Like bam, 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 done.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it was. So
for sure. And with that, we'll go to Sony really quick. State of Play happened today. Hey, this might actually be in order. No, it's not. Tekken 8 was teased first, and it looked really cool. Tekken 8 is only a PS5 game. We also saw no PS4 announced for it.
I was telling the last game they didn't have they had a huge roster of characters, but you had to buy, I would say 40% of the characters.
Hmm.
Um, I hope they don't try to do that with this and they just do the game. Yes, I'm okay with buying characters. I've bought characters before, but I just did not like the way they did it
Yeah.
at all. But this trailer was awesome. Uh,
Yeah, it just in the rain, everything looked very good. It looked like it. There were certain points where it looked like it was in engine. It didn't look like a cutscene.
yeah, I was watching it with my 14-year-old. He kept going, I can't tell, but this is actual gameplay. And then it
Yeah.
would go into engine and then
Hmm.
go into gameplay. So I thought that was really cool to start off with that. Um,
Yeah.
you know, and hopefully it's as good as what we were thinking.
Yeah, for sure. The next thing they have listed here, which is weird because they do the first thing and then the last thing. Um, God of War gets a new trailer, and then they also showed off the new controller. They showed off the controller first, and it was kind of a letdown, and then they showed off the game. And I was like, okay, good. You tricked me
The
there for a
controller,
second.
I thought the controller was awesome looking. I am going to buy it.
Yeah,
Um,
I think the controller looks cool, but if that was the way that you're gonna end your presentation, that's a really bad letdown. So actually showing the game afterwards, I think was a good thing to do.
and we've seen enough God of War to know, with this. I think
Yeah.
the coolest thing was is they showed a little bit of Kratos fighting Thor.
Hmm. Like right near the
Uh,
end. Yeah.
oh yeah, and it looks like that is going to be a hell of a battle. They also showed more of the wolves. I know before we had talked about like, man, I hope they like use the wolves in battle or whatever. And they were just like sitting next
Yeah,
to
Atreus and all of us, like right at the
yes,
end.
like I don't know. I'm this is gonna be a very epic game, and I'm super excited
So
for it.
I haven't really watched many trailers of this game. This trailer kind of sold me again. Because I really really liked the previous game. I wasn't a huge fan of the original games. I've tried playing them. I just can't get into it because it's just very button mash annoying. But I like the last game a whole lot. And seeing this trailer again, just seeing everything, it makes me want to play it as soon as possible. So I don't know if I'll get it immediately, but I will definitely get it probably the month that it comes out. Um,
That's the trailer that gave me total goosebumps.
mhm.
I was like, there have been good trailers, but that one, wow! And it showed off the power of the PS5.
Yeah.
It looked
Um,
amazing.
yeah. Next thing that we saw some VR2 games, which is interesting. We're still not really seeing much of the PlayStation VR2, but we're seeing some games. And there is Tales from the Galaxy's Edge, which is, I guess, Galaxy's Edge, like the ride, potentially. I'm not sure. It seems like it's some sort of like stuff from Disney, like from Galaxy's Edge, but designed more into like a VR game instead of a ride.
Now, I watched this with my son who has an Oculus. He has this for Oculus,
Okay.
but he said the visuals looked 10 times better than Oculus. Now, he's got the portable one. He doesn't have
Yeah. The
the full
Quest.
blown.
Yeah.
And I think they're a pretty neat machine, but watching this running on a PS5, it was like night and day, you
So
know?
I haven't gone to Galaxy's Edge at all since it opened over in Disney. Um, are there rides like this? Because you've been to Galaxy's Edge, right?
I have not.
Okay.
Kids went with their mom. I will tell you, there are rides, but the ride there is like not this at
Okay.
all.
But because supposedly, well, so we have had an episode before. Um, I don't know if it was here or it might have been on Zach's old podcast, but we talked about old Star Wars things. And one of the things I talked about was like some of my favorite characters and things. And one of them is Hondo, who is like I don't know how to describe him. Uh I don't know, just a loser, but he's a fun loser. and he has like an accent. He's like, "Hey, Ezra," like I don't know, like he talks like this, like kind of like Watto, but not. But it was really cool that Hondo was in this trailer. And like you just open, he's like, "Oh hey, how you doing?" And it's like, "Oh, you're in this game? I love you. You're my favorite character in all the cartoons." And to see you here, I want to play this game just because Hondo's here. Um,
They and they put a 2023 release date,
yeah,
so which tells me that the PSVR 2 is coming next year.
yeah, I feel like so for sure. Um, I don't remember this one. Maybe I like blinked.
So
Uh,
this is
Demio.
live. This one's like playing a tabletop role playing game in
Right.
convention, like
Okay.
in like which that's not really my thing. Like I don't play Dungeons and Dragons because it's just too much. If I could start with people that would show me how to play, I would probably play because I think that's fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I
But
remember this one now. Cause yeah, like you can place the items and just see
yeah,
it. I think that's really cool. Just a virtual version of this. It's like tabletop simulator or something like that.
I
Um,
think if this does well, you're gonna see Dungeons and Dragons do it, where a dungeon master can do the whole storyboard on the game. And
mhm.
if you're not there, you can still participate, and then there's a whole bunch of stuff you can do.
Yeah.
So um, I'm glad someone thought this idea up, and if the game is not good, but it's a cool idea, someone else will come up with something that looks even cooler. Which I thought it was pretty cool. I think I could probably even play that. I would get this, and then like me, you, and a couple of friends play this. It would be so much fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Um, One of the next things that they showed off, which was my highlight of this whole thing, Yakuza. Wait. Okay. Just phrase weird. Yakuza's Ishin spin-off game getting a Western release. So there are two different games that never showed up in the West. There's a game called Ryuga Gotoku Kenzan, and then there's Ryuga Gotoku Ishin. And Kenzan was like feudal Japan, and that's on the PS3. And Ishin came out on the PS3 and PS4 back in probably 2016. I don't remember when exactly, but they came out at some point, and now we're getting this game, and they said it's a game. Sega remade a game from the ground up, and as soon as I saw it, I was like, "Oh, are we getting Ryuga Gotoku?" And sure enough, we are. They are not calling it Yakuza. They are calling it Ryuga Gotoku or Like a Dragon. They're calling it Like a Dragon Ishin, which makes more sense because it's not. There aren't Yakuza in this era.
Yeah,
So yeah.
I
So
thought this
yeah.
I thought this looked great. And as soon as I was like, before they said the name, I'm like, this looks like Yakuza, and I'm like, I guarantee Alex is flipping out.
I
And
love
then
it.
that's what it was. I'm like, yep, called it.
Well, because it's kind of like that Fist of the North Star thing, except the only difference is that characters from the Yakuza Ryoga Gotoku series play famous people from the past. So you're not playing as Kiryu, you're playing as some samurai who just happens to exactly look like Kiryu. And then same thing with Majima. You saw Majima with like his eye patch, and he's just playing someone else. He's not Majima. So like it's gonna have all those same voice actors, all of those same people, but they're just in a different story. And I think that's really cool. I'm looking forward to this game a lot because I love Ryoga Gotoku games a lot. I still haven't finished 7 Like a Dragon just because I don't know. I still don't really like it. I like it fine enough, but it's an RPG. That's not what I play those games for. I play them for the action brawler games, and Judgment's more like that. And this is like that. So I'm very happy that we are getting this remake because I can play a game that I'll actually enjoy. And I love Kiryu and Majima and all of them to see them again, but in a different place in time, I think it's gonna be really fun. Um, Hogwarts Legacy, um, yeah, I guess it's getting a PlayStation exclusive quest. Saw a tiny bit of Hogwarts. It's Hogwarts. I honestly thought when we saw this, I thought this wasn't Hogwarts Legacy. I thought it was a Harry Potter Hogwarts VR game at first, initially.
Yeah,
Because the way that it didn't show you, the way that like the camera was like down and all this kind of stuff, and then once it showed your character, I was like, oh, okay, so this is just Hogwarts again. Like, why are we seeing this again?
yeah, yeah. And I will tell you, I think the more we see about this game, the better it keeps getting better and better.
Mm-hmm.
Last week they released a trailer where it showed um, them going into the different houses,
Mm-hmm.
and they show the one with the picture frame, and I had to use the password, and she's like, okay, and then it opens the door. They spent a lot of time on getting those details. So the I sucks I can't play it during holiday, but I will be buying that game day one.
Yeah. Pacific Drive. The first title from Ironwood Studio has been announced. It's really weird.
It was super weird.
You're just driving and you're trying to avoid all these weird things that's happening, like post-apocalyptic things, like I don't know, like the world is being destroyed. There seem to be like alien stuff happening, and you just keep driving away. Just keep driving and driving and driving. I don't really know what's happening. You're just driving around. Don't really know what it is yet. Um, PlayStation Stars loyalty program is going to start rolling out this month. Guys, it's not NFTs. We swear, they are just digital collectibles.
So NFTs.
Yeah, I forget what I was watching. I think it was a kind of funny thing. I'm gonna be honest, but I kind of noticed the same thing as well. They're like they talk about how these aren't NFTs, and the first thing that they show is an ape escape ape, and like when you think of NFTs, you always think of like those stupid ape faces. So it's just like, are you sure this is an NFT? Because you showed us an ape. um,
I
but
thought this
yeah,
was I was expecting more.
we
I
probably
guess
still will get more. We just don't know
yeah,
all yet.
they did say as I was reading further that you can also earn money for your wallet,
Yeah.
in the PlayStation Store to use in the store or whatnot. Yeah, we'll see. And they're rolling it out. But if this is what like their loyalty program is going to be, it doesn't seem very. I don't know. I'm hoping there's more involved with it.
Yeah.
And they said they're very very early stages, so it'll be interesting to see what happens with it. I feel like you and me both spend a lot of money on the PlayStation Store and with PlayStation products.
Hmm.
And if they're going to do a loyalty program, they just do a little bit more tweaking.
Agreed. Sin Duality is the latest game from Bandai Namco that is not a dot hack remake, unfortunately. Sin Duality is third person shooter. And it kind of looks like Nier. But you like pilot a mech and you just like it's like an action adventure shooter game. It looks very anime, it looks very Nier, and it's coming out in 2023. Um Project Eve got a real name, and it's called Stellar Blade, and it's coming next year. Um, yeah, this is Korean. Okay, so it's Korean. I was trying to figure out where the place was from earlier. But yeah, it's a Korean studio called Shift Up, and they gave it a name, and they gave it a date of next year. But we saw more of this game. Looks really cool. Looks very anime. Looks very next gen.
Yeah,
Um,
it looks really great.
and I'm just curious. Well, we're gonna see more of this because everything looked amazing about it, and I've been
Yeah,
hyped for it for a while.
this is another game that's coming out. including that Monkey King game that we saw a couple years ago,
Mm-hmm.
which they shared more about. I'm excited for both of those games.
Yeah.
The Monkey King one, especially, because every time they show a new trailer, it just looks better and better and better
Mm-hmm.
every time. So yeah, I thought that looked really, really cool. I loved the boss battles, and then it just looks really great.
Yeah. The next and I guess last thing, is an open world samurai game developed by the Neo people, called Rise of the Ronin. Team Ninja, yeah, making an open world samurai game. It honestly looks like it's obviously it does look like Neo a lot, but it also really looks like Assassin's Creed. It gives a vibe of Assassin's Creed. And it's funny because Assassin's Creed like just announced a little bit ago that they were doing like a Japanese one, and this isn't necessarily going to beat that because this is as a 2024 window release. But this already looks a ton better, I feel, and probably will play a ton better than whatever Assassin's Creed's going to offer you.
Yeah, this looked great. The one scene where he was fighting with a sword and using a pistol was great, and it looks amazing. Um, now, is this gonna keep me? Is this gonna replace Ghost of Tsushima? No. But I feel like since Ghost has come out, we're starting to see more of these like samurai set games.
Mm-hmm.
It looks great. I'm excited. We've got a couple of years, 2 years, but I feel like this is another one we're going to see more of next year.
Yeah.
And they showed gameplay. They showed, him jumping off a roof and using like a glider. Uh, it looked really pretty. I will tell you, it was comparable to, I would say, God of War a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah.
So this one here, what would you rank this one?
I don't know. This one was shorter and more to the point, but it also had stupid stuff too. I would say I was more hyped for this one. Um, I don't know. This was 20 minutes and the other one was 40 minutes. I probably rate them about the same. Just because they had just the same amount of. I mean, yes, the Nintendo Direct had a lot of games and stuff, but it utilized its time wisely for 40 minutes, whereas this was only 20 minutes, but it utilized its time wisely for these games too. So I don't think there was anything really bad or anything about these. And yeah, we got the new Ishin. We got more Ragnarok, Tekken 8. Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff here that looks really cool. And then yeah, Stellar Blade and yeah, everything here. Just this is probably a little bit better than the other conference than the Direct.
Yeah, I would give it probably a B.
Yeah.
Only reason why, because it was short to the point. Everything they showed not only was something that I particularly was looking forward to, but things that I didn't know I would be looking forward to, but were.
Mm-hmm.
As where the Nintendo was like, hey, that's probably for somebody, but it's not for me.
Yeah.
I felt like this one, everything that they announced was something I would play.
Yep. Same.
And I almost want to do like an A minus just because of that. And it wasn't just like the big titles we knew coming out. The two different samurai games, I had no idea. The other games, yeah, I would have loved to see like, hey, this is going to be PlayStation VR 2's release date, but they won't do that. And we still have the Video Game Awards in December. So we don't know if they're going to do it then. I think the Video Game Awards this year are going to be crazy. And we may have to do an episode the week after. I don't know how, but we may have to do something because I feel like this year, going into next year, it's going to be a crazy time for that. You're wrong. It could be a flop. But yeah, I would give it around that.
Cool.
I do have a
Well,
shout. If I could do a quick shout out.
sure.
Okay, and so normally, real quick, I don't normally talk about whatnot on here, but I had a situation where I bought something, I got it, it was a little broken, and so I reached out to the seller, and he was very quick to be like, "Hey, I'll just give you your money back." I'm like, "Well, I collect, so can you maybe do something else?" He opened up his inventory of what he had. He let me pick out not just one game, but two games. Their NES. And then I was like, "Hey, do you want me to send this one back?" He goes, "Nope, keep it as a gift." So I'm gonna call him out as a shout out of the week. Um, and so he is Marks Tees. So MARXTEES. He does retro games and whatnot. He actually has a show on the 17th at 2 p.m. You need to check on there. But if you guys could go check him out, follow him, he did a solid. And Alex knows because when I was showing off one thing, he's like, "What is with that game over there?" And I was like, "I don't even know if it's gonna get fixed or not because when you buy stuff, you never know.
Yeah.
You really." And the fact, and he gave me two games, and they are pristine.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to use him as a shout out of the week. So give him some love on whatnot. Check out his show on the 17th. Yeah, that's my one whatnot thing.
Cool.
So
Awesome. Well, again, this has been the Get At Gaming Plus podcast. You can find us everywhere. YouTube.com/Get At Gaming. You can find us on podcast services, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, other places, Anchor. You can find us there. If you make an account, just make an account. Go over there, anchor.fm/Get At Gaming. You can leave us voicemails, and maybe we will respond to them and react to them because that'd be fun. But none of you all want to do it because you have to make an account. And you know what? I get it. I totally get it. But at the same time, just do it. Be a solid. Do a bro. Do a bro a solid. Like how this guy did Ben a solid earlier with his NES games. Just make an account. What are you afraid of?
yeah,
But anyway, yeah, this posts on Wednesdays on audio, and then on Fridays for the video. Um, but again, no episode next week. We are doing our bi-weekly thing starting now. So we will see you in a couple weeks. But before all of that, Ben, do you have anything else to say to the people?
get at it.
Get at it.